Japan's SJC has invested in satellite provider LeoSat Enterprises. Now, LeoSat will be launching around 108 low-orbit satellites in 2019. They'll provide high-speed and secure communications and bandwidth for business operations such as oil and gas, exploration, and for the maritime industry as well. Mark Rigolle, CEO of LeoSat Enterprises, joins us here today to talk about that. Mark, welcome to the program.
Thanks.
Tell us about the satellite industry. It's one that we don't talk about. We talk about telco and telecommunications a lot, but the satellite industry, not so much.
Yes, it's a pure B2B business, so people don't realise that without satellites, most of our daily lives would grind to a halt. Just think about television, wouldn't work. GPS drives applications like Uber wouldn't function without GPS. So telecommunications, satellites are necessary for our modern society.
So what is it exactly does the LeoSat do? You have a fairly unique offering within this space.
Yes, absolutely. So the great thing about geostationary satellites is that they, relative to Earth, don't move. So you can have one satellite with a small dish and you can watch television, direct-to-home television. So that's a uniquely efficient way of distributing television. Problem is they're at 36,000 kilometers distance in space from Earth, so it takes a half a second for a signal to travel up and come back down. And so if you want to transport data, that's very inefficient compared to fiber. So fiber always wins. So we've put a network together that is 25 times closer to Earth at 1,400 kilometers distance only, so really hugging Mother Earth. And that means our latency is something like 16 milliseconds.
And it can compete with fiber then now?
We can beat fiber.
Yeah.
Singapore to London, the fastest fiber is 192 milliseconds. We're 119.
Oh, so you're actually beating fiber at this point.
For the first time that satellites can do that.
So what is the new technology that's now in place that is allowing you to do this that wasn't there before?
15 years ago, indeed, it wouldn't have been possible. And what we're doing is actually taking building blocks of existing technology that has been developed since and is space-proven. So there's nothing extraordinary, really new about it in space on our satellites, is onboard processing. So there's some intelligence on the satellite to route the traffic to where it needs to go. Because most satellites just send something directly down to a gateway again. And our satellites are interlinked with laser optical links, which means when we go from Singapore to London, it's our network that carries the signal all the way from rooftop to rooftop. Wow.
And is that between satellites?
Yes.
In between
space.
more than one?
It doesn't come down.
No.
Traditionally, the satellites, you would do multiple hops up and down, which again increases latency.
So does this mean when you're doing deals with other businesses, you say it's a B2B market, B2B market, things are getting cheaper?
The prices are coming down for data in general. That is absolutely correct. But we're going to position ourselves as a premium service because we can beat fiber at its own game. So people who are really latency dependent, financial traders, for instance, a good example here, stock exchange. So we're talking to stock exchanges, to traders, that's people who want latency, but there's also the security aspect. Because if you go through fiber from anywhere to anywhere, you're going through a patchwork of systems that interconnect, and at each of those interconnection points, someone can intercept a signal. And if you go on our system from Singapore to London or from anywhere to anywhere, you're physically on one infrastructure that we can guarantee is secure. So
there is no interception possibility?
Exactly.
None at all?
None at all.
So you're 100% secure?
Nothing's ever 100% secure, but we're as close as you can get.
Unhackable?
Unhackable, the satellites don't have IP addresses, so what would you hack?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. So when you look at your growth in the market overall, which industry specifically do you target? I mean, you're talking about stock exchange, you're talking about traders. I mean, I suppose this has got largely to do with high-frequency trading and so forth. Are there any other big industries that specifically need that sort of speed?
It's interesting. Since I joined a year and a half ago, since I joined this project, because we're still a young company, we thought we had oil and gas, maritime, and telcos as target markets. And then we started talking about this at conferences and so on, and people came to us and said, hey, we could use this for remote media production, so we don't have to have a production crew and a truck roll to go to St. Andrews for the golf once a year and stuff like that, remote locations. We've talked to enterprises. We've talked to people who just need a secure VPN for their data centers. Not for all the traffic, but for the secure traffic, like the credit card information that people like Amazon have stored and transport from data center to data center sometimes, or continuously, I should say. for reasons of privacy and legal reasons, they have to secure that data to a higher degree than just the normal transactional data. And so they're looking at us as well. So every day, every week at least, there's a new application that we see.
New industry. Okay. Something to watch very closely. Mark, we'd love to have you back next time you're in Singapore. Tell us how you're going, see what the next step is.
Nice being here.
Thanks for joining us today.